All right, let's see if you guys can hear me now. I think I am streaming with sound this time. Sorry for that. I did not know my mic had quit on me. All right, we got sound. Good. All right, well, let me go back to the beginning. Yes, in the beginning, I was explaining that we got our PCBs in. Woohoo, we got PCBs in place. Let me see if I can show the PCBs on the top down. Maybe. You know what? We don't need the top down. There it goes. Yes. So we have PCBs. The PCBs came in from China, all 300 of them. So we will have plenty to give away and sell in addition to the Indiegogo backers getting theirs. So what we've been working on is the code. And it was probably really confusing what I was talking about without sound, but I'm going to walk through the code again now. Because one of the things I was talking about was I wanted to use Arduino code to keep this very accessible to people that don't normally code. But one of the issues that I forgot about working with Arduino is that their graphical user IDE really, really sucks. I mean, bad. I mean, it's almost unusable for what I needed to do. So I saw that they had a CLI out there, and the CLI works beautifully for what we need to do. We don't need to use their GUI anymore. We just need to actually run command lines to either compile or upload the code. And so I put together this nice instruction README file. I don't think this is up in the GitHub yet because I'm still tweaking this before I upload it to main. But yeah, this is basically explaining for anyone that's going to be working with the badge, where do you download the software if you want to download the actual crappy IDE, or if you want to use their CLI, which seems to work really well. If you're going to use the IDE, how do you configure it? And if you're going to use the CLI, how do you configure it, and then how do you use it after setup? And long story short, I explain all of this stuff, but I made some nice scripts. So I have a bash script here that will do all of the setup after you install the CLI software. You run this bash script, and it will call my local config file. And this local config file, I'll explain in a minute, that's what allows this to work without using the default Arduino directory paths, that it works out of this code directory. But yeah, it basically will pull the board details for the ESP32. It'll pull the library that we use for the NeoPixels. It does all of that setup stuff in one quick, easy bash script. We also have a script for compiling the code. It's really just a one-liner, but it does a lot of checks because asking for a single argument, which is the sketch that you want to compile. And that would be the directory or the INO file that you're wanting to compile. So you give it that, you launch this with that one argument at the end, and it runs this, and it compiles the code. And then for upload, this script actually needs two things. So similar to the compile, it needs the sketch name, so that's the name of the code, and it needs what serial port you want to push it to. And it does a lot of checks to make sure that you're not giving me an invalid port or an invalid sketch name, that it found it, yada yada. But really, at the end of the day, it's just running this one line at the end, which is using the config file, uploading the file to the port I gave it, using the fully qualified board name with the input file, which is where my binary is, which you'll notice that is using the $1 to specify the sketch name and a build directory, and then the actual bin file. Now, how am I making sure that it puts it in the build directory? Well, when we compile it, we actually tell it to export the binaries, and so that puts it in a build directory under that sketch, and so it has the binaries right there, and that's what we're going to use to upload to the board. So it's fairly straightforward, but I tried to simplify it for people that don't work with code every day. That way, if they want to tweak one little thing in the code, they can come over here, open the code up, change any one or two little things that they want without having to write the code from scratch or know what they're doing. They can, once they make their changes, just do the compile and then do the upload, and then they're good to go. So that's kind of the advantage to doing this. Now I will show that config file that I'm using. So for the config file, I have to tell it where to find the ESP32 libraries and or board references rather. And so that's what this additional URL is here. And then the other major pieces are right here, the directories, where I'm saying // so from my current directory, put all my data in an _data directory, and put all my downloads in a // staging. And then my user directory, the places that the sketches are located, is that's my current directory. So since I'm running in the code directory, these commands, this works perfectly. And this build, you probably won't ever need to look in here, but this is where all the temp files are that get created during compile. So if there's an issue with compiling, you can come in here and look at, like, did it pull the right libraries? What core did it use? What pre-processing stuff did it do? The sketch information. You can look at all those details for troubleshooting, but most people won't need to do that. The data, this is normally where Arduino would store, like, its board information. Like in Windows, it'd be like in app data somewhere, and in Linux, I think it's like .arduino 15 or something like that. But we put it right here. That way we know these are the files I'm dealing with. That way I'm not stomping on any files that I'm using for other projects, and I know for sure these are the versions of the files that I want. So by using our own data directory and staging directory, that works perfect, because staging has our libraries. That's right. So yeah, most of this you won't ever have to look in, but the build you will use in that upload, and that's where it stores the binaries of the latest compile that we're going to use to upload. So yeah, I spent some time to iron all that out, and I think it worked out well. It worked out well enough that I actually work on code on 2 different Windows machines and 2 different Linux machines, and I was able to, between the 4 machines, work on this code seamlessly back and forth across all environments, just by making sure I did a git pull and had the latest information, and then made sure my Arduino CLI was up to date, which it's available for Linux and Windows. So this seems to work. It makes it portable, the code portable. So that was kind of the goal. So yeah, we are doing a lot more work on the code. Other than this code here is not the super secret code, what's out in the repo right now. This is like the blinky lights and make the LEDs do stuff. And I started playing with the different ways to put it into sleep mode or turn Wi-Fi off and stuff like that. So this one is probably going to get updated before it goes up to the repo. But yeah, it's basically the LED stuff here. We don't have the fancy CTF stuff in this code. We're working in a different repo for that, and that'll get loaded onto the badges and probably won't be released into the main repo until after the con, since that'll have all the puzzle secrets in it. So you won't want to spoil the surprise and see that early. But I did make the main repository public, so anyone can go look out there now, and you won't see any spoilers to the code or anything. So other updates. So yeah, we are going to be finalizing the code hopefully by mid next week. That way we can start flashing 300 ESP boards with this code. And then after that, we are going to start soldering, and I think we're going to have a big soldering party for the badge team on the weekend of the 22nd to try to knock out a bunch of these pre-made badges that people want. So yeah, I'm surprised no one from the badge team join tonight. I know life happens, but yeah, there's a couple people I was expecting to see out here, but we'll see. I'll talk to them offline and make sure that they're aligned. But yeah, we're looking at if we can get a big solder party going on the 22nd, we can knock out all the ones that at least that we need for the Indiegogo campaign, because I think we needed 35 pre-built badges for that campaign. And then we'll probably do more on top of that to sell outside of the campaign. So that's a question that people have been hitting me up with is I didn't get to the campaign in time to buy one. Now the campaign is closed. How can I get one? Yada yada. The campaign just had enough badges and enough funding there to get us going, so that we could actually pay for the badges. It was not the total number of badges. You just heard me say I ran 300 PCBs. I think we only had 120 badges listed on the campaign. So we're going to have plenty of badges to sell or give away. Year after year, I give away so many badges. So you might get lucky and get one for free, or worst case, you should be able to find me to buy one at the con. Or if you're in the DFW area, you can show up at the Dallas Hackers Association on August 2nd, I think is their meeting. It's the first Wednesday of the month, and it's just before the week before DEF CON. So that will be our first badge drop for the Indiegogo people, and we'll also have extras there to sell to people. And same thing goes for the other badge drops that we have scheduled in Vegas for the Indiegogo people. If you show up there, you know we're going to be there for the Indiegogo giveaways. If you wanted to buy a badge, you can find us at one of those and buy a badge. And then in between those, I'll be doing badge drops where I give away badges to people. So definitely have lots of ways to get this badge. So I think that is the end of the major updates. So it wasn't a whole lot for tonight as far as updates go, other than we're working on it and we got almost everything. And I think we're waiting on one more shipment from China via AliExpress of another 100 ESP boards. I have 200 in hand and I need another 100 more. So once we get that, then we should have everything we need to put the kits together and put the pre-mades together. Well, I should show you guys. I splurged this year, and I went with a cool holographic bag. So let me go back to the display here. Yeah, so this will be the packaging for the future badge this year. So we can bring this up a little so you can see the whole thing. So yeah, basically it has a clear front and then a holographic back. And so, and it can fit. I've already tested putting all the bags of components inside of it. So yeah, that way it'll be very showroomy as it has all the parts in it. Where in the past I used the typical like dark, like this type of bag that's very dark and not very see-through. This year it's going to be very bling. And I also got for my label printer some cool labels in a nice lavender color that'll be neat to print and put on the back of here, that gives the details on the badge and whether it's a badge kit or a fully assembled badge, although that'll be obvious looking in the window there. So I think that will turn out really well. So I'm excited to get those out, and to match up these cool holographic bags that I got, I went ahead and ordered holographic stickers from Sticker Mule. And so those will be included in all the badge kits as well. So that'll be kind of cool. And that just reminded me, I don't know when I'm supposed to get those. Let me look that up. Because that's all I need is another shipping delay from somebody. Let's see, where's my orders? Oh yeah, there it is. Looks like it should be here the 18th or so, and I'll show that off back to here. So yeah, this is what the holographic sticker will look like. So it uses the artwork from the badge, made a sticker with it, and it should be pretty cool. And the size is like 3 inches by 2 inches, so it's not a teeny tiny sticker. It should have enough size to detail the artwork nicely, but still be small enough that it's not going to eat up real estate on the back of people's laptops or whatever. All right, well, let's see, what else do I need to update about? I think that's about it. So yeah, the badge building is is continuing. I'm actually building kits. I don't know if you guys have ever seen what 150 component bags look like after they're stuffed. Yeah, I have 2 of those now, and that's only one of 3 bags that I need to fill with components. And a couple of people locally offered to help me with that. And I don't know why, but when it comes to putting the components in the bags, I get very possessive about that. And I don't know that I would trust anyone to do it. I mean, my daughter offered to help stuff the bags. And yeah, I'd rather just do it myself. That way I know I put those components in that bag, and so the count is right. Yeah, I need to let go more. Otherwise, I'm just going to hurt myself by putting all that stuff in bags every year after year. That's probably how I have carpal tunnel. All right. Well, I think that is it for this week's badge update. Sorry for the glitch and the no sound first try. I'm glad I could get the updates out, and I am looking forward to getting these badges in people's hands, and hopefully next week we'll have a closer update on what the badges look like running the new code. So where I can't show you the new super secret code on the screen, I'm hoping that next week we will be able to show it running on the badge so you can get some idea of what it will do. All right, thanks all, and we will talk to you next week.